Welcome, this is Stephanie with Growing from the Woodpile, and today I am trying to start planting my fall garden in my home garden in 9B. I printed this off. You're gonna have to forgive me about the lighting. I don't know how to fix it on the phone. I went through and highlighted what I can plant in August, and then I pulled these seeds, and I think I'm gonna do a separate series on this one here. I've had these for, I think, since 2012, and they've been in the freezer. So I'm going to pull some out and plant those to see if seeds are good after, you know, you've had them in the freezer for many years. But that being said, this is my horrible handwriting that you can't read. I haven't done this start seedlings. I think I will take some of these seeds and put them, because you can see in here that you can do transplant here in November. So I think I'm going to take some of these to the ranch and get them started. But I am going to get some of these in, I think, the green stock today. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get the emergency kit out and pull some corn and get those going to see if these seeds are still viable. I could do a sack test, but I don't have time for that. I'm only home for a couple of days. And thank you. We're going to get outside and get to planting. However, it is a little bit rainy today, but that's okay. I don't melt much. Coming outside, no additional storm damage. It did storm quite a bit last night. All of this down stuff is from last week. I'm taking the opportunity because it's cooler to plant. This is the form I made on my, right here, on my Google Sheets, and not all of it is completely up to date, but at least I'm going to go back through with a brown dry erase. This is a sleeve I got at the dollar store, and I can write on where I planted things today. Besides using my plant tags, were not a plant tags. These are popsicle sticks when I used to teach, and I'm just going to write on them. I broke them in half, so I'd have enough. And I got all my beans that I want to be planted out. So that is my little plan today, to get some things in the ground. I'm not sure how much I'll get in the ground, but I do want to. Pardon the garden mess. Let's see, how do I? Can't seem to know how to zoom out. I can zoom in, but I can't zoom out. That's okay. So, got some water in there. I do want to go through a bed and put some compost in it. This is my completed city compost that I mixed some of my own in. This is my ongoing, will take 2 years compost because I don't water it or keep it going. So I usually put these in the fall at the bottom of a bed and let it continue to break down. I'm not going to get to stirring that today, but I do want to top off those beds with this. And we'll see how much of that I can film or not film. I am going to put the walking. It got kind of windy last night, so yeah, this is existing a problem right here that I need my son to fix. So hopefully I get him to do that today. Probably not. He works, but I'm going to amend this bed right here and plant beans in it. So I'm going to pull the straw off, put down some compost, and go from there. But, oh no, one of my roselles snapped over here. Little thing. Oh, I do need to put the timer on a rain delay. So he didn't snap. He just kind of got blowed over. So maybe I'll get something to tie him back up. But these roselles are looking nice and big. Okay, let's get to planting and see if I can find my cat's cat collar while I'm out here. She lost it again. Preparing the beds for my fall garden. And I'm going to do a couple of beds a certain way, see if it matters, and then a couple of beds a different way. Now, these two beds in this back corner, this bed, and you see this big pole, and this bed right here, these 2x8 beds, There is cement under there. Like when we bought the house 20 some odd years ago, there was some little makeshift, because you see this pole and this pole like lean to where the previous owners had put like some type of structure on top, and they would put their lawnmower and stuff underneath. And then over here where these fabric beds are was two other poles that held it up, but they were in dirt. So I have to treat these two beds like they're planters because they're cement. They can't go into the native dirt. And I am going to be going through and filling them up with, let's see, turn around here, kind of trapped in here. That is my wheelbarrow. It has peat moss, vermiculite, worm castings, some granular fertilizer, I don't know, a 537, blah, blah, blah. And then I go to Scene Farms Nursery, which sells vegetables too, and they sell a topsoil that they say is compost, sand, and other things. So I'm going to be filling it up because the beds are a little bit low, but I also want to get some nutrition in there. Oh, and I also put alfalfa pellets in there. Learned that from the rusted garter. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to at least kind of take some of the straw off, then put down some of that soil mixture, and then try to put the straw back on and then plant. I need to ask a real gardener, because I'm just a 2-year wannabe gardener, of this mulch, then how do you plant seeds in it? Because then how do the seeds come up? So I try to attempt to push things back when I do that and plant right, because I have drip irrigation down in here. You can see it back there, right here. And I plant at an emitter. So first step first, in these two, I'm going to pull out the mulch and put down dirt. So let's go with that. Kids make gloves on. There is critters in this. Probably get a bunch in my head, apologize. This right here are green onions that have seen better days. They've been there for a year and a half, I'm not quite sure. So I do live in 9B, if you haven't watched any of my other stuff. So that's the Phoenix area, metropolitan area. And we got a huge monsoon storm, so usually my soil is not this wet, because it only has the drip irrigation. But since it had a great monsoon rain, it is nice and moist. And these are just old tomato plants I'm pulling out. And I have a bucket right underneath the camera that I'm saving all of the mulch to put back on. Not sure if you can see. I'll just move this over just a little bit. So I plan on leaving a few existing plants in this bed. Right here is chives or green onions, because I think they must be chives because they're smaller. I'm embarrassed to say I don't always know what the difference is between a chive and a green onion. I think chives keep spreading. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. All I know is I like to use green onion, and I think a chive tastes like a green onion, so I'm just going with that. Got up early this morning to beat the heat because I'm hoping to get a lot of this done before it hits 100 degrees, which is around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then I want to go down to Summer Winds, which is a local nursery. And I called them yesterday, and they have a few pepper plants. They don't have tomato plants yet. I have quite a few pepper plants, but they make me nervous that they're not going to produce. Because usually more in 9B, we get more of a few peppers in the summer before it gets too hot. But we more have continuous, well, I don't want to say continuous, a lot of good pepper throughout the winter. So, almost done with this bed. Pulling out a few plant tags. I do have a video on how to reuse the plant tags. So I'm trying to make a little pile of them. Move in. I should probably move down here. So right here is the end of the bed. There's some either purple basil, oval basil. I don't know what kind of basil. I bought it at the nursery, and I swear it says opal basil, but it's not real purple. I don't know if it's because it's so hot. It takes the purple out of it. I don't know. Some other chiby things right here that I'm trying to keep. And then this right here is an eggplant. And I decided it wasn't my smartest idea to put him in a bed because eggplant, like peppers, can be year-round here. So I probably should have put him in a bed that gets better nutrition. But sometimes you can't think of everything when you're gardening. At least I can't, since I'm new. Move down here, the last of this bed. Again, this bed was not in this spot 10 years ago. And I also, 10 years ago, I tried to garden. My kids were small. I gave up after about a year just because life was busy and I didn't really have the time because I was working at that time. Kids were small. I was trying to teach them to water. It was a fight. So I gave up, but I didn't do anything with the beds. I didn't throw them away. They were not in the spot. They were in a quarter house. And that's when YouTube wasn't very big. So it was actually 2010, so 12 years ago. And I did some research. I read the Square Foot Gardening book and didn't know anything about direction of the sun. I didn't follow all that on this. I lucked out. Anyways, point of the story is even though this was made out of wood, I don't know if it's because I didn't water it continuously. The wood, I think I keep hitting the camera with my foot. The wood did not break down. And these boards have lasted over 12 years. So, quite surprised that it's held up. Then I moved it over to a different spot. And I started gardening again 12 years later. So, I know I can get more mulch back there, but I'm leaving it in. I got a couple more beds I need to do before it gets too hot. So, now what I'm going to do is move back down here, get my mixture of soil. We'll see which way of sticking it in works best. So, well, this is an arch, and then there is some weird cattle panels back here in the back that I kind of push forward to keep and deter my own cats from getting and using my boxes as a litter box. And that's actually what they did for those 12 years that I didn't garden. I didn't keep that soil. Well, okay, I did keep the soil, but I moved it up front in my probably not so better decisions to a little triangle that I plant sunflowers in. But I never eat those sunflowers. I do harvest the seeds and replant the seeds up front, but I just like flowers up front because it was good soil many years ago, and felt like it was still good soil. Because cats were pooping in it. My cats mostly eat cat food, but they do like to bring in the occasional bird or mostly lizards. Alright, well this is probably not a very interesting video of me shoveling. So I think I'm at maybe where I want to be. Let me do one more shovel. Actually, 3 more shovels. One over here by the eggplant. So back here. I'll even that out. Use my hands, and then one more in the back corner. So this smells pretty ripe. Not exactly sure what from. Maybe it's the alfalfa pellets breaking down. Don't know. Okay, so then I'm just going to get in here and even this out. I don't care that some of the mulch is still in there, it'll break down. And 2 reasons why I'm doing this. 1, the soil did drop down in this bed, and 2, it just add more nutrition in it again because this is on the cement. It can't go down to its natural soil. So I did notice it's covering the drip line, which is good and bad. It'll protect the drip line from sun damage. Hopefully you're just not seeing the back of my head. My bun's not that cute today. It's a production bun, as in to get it out of my face. Alright. Plant tag. Again, my feeble attempts to keep my cats out of the garden. And you know, for the most part, it has worked. There is still a couple of spots I know they like to get into, and I know where those are, so I will check for that. I really thought, since I did a chip drop in the yard, that they would use that more, but I was wrong. The mulch kind of gets patted down and is a little hard for them to dig into. So, you know, nice fresh garden soil's so much easier. So, alright. So, another plant tag. So what I think I'm going to do now, I am going to plant green beans in this one. It is a bigger seed, but I'm still not going to plant directly on this. I'm going to now take my bucket of mulch and go back over and kind of cover up the soil. I know I don't do a true mulch of 3-4 inches. Again, I need to talk to a master gardener and go, well, how do you plant seeds if you have mulch? So, seeds in ground, not starting my own transplants, which I have started this year to make my own transplants, but there's some things you just don't transplant. It's green beans, peas. Yes, you can, but I don't need to where I live. And so, anyways, I'm going to continue on, but this is just how I am attempting to prepare my beds, especially this bed because it's on cement. There's probably no difference in the other beds I do until I get too tired and too hot I may not lift the mulch off. I've seen people just put compost on top of their mulch and stir it in and then just do another layer of compost. So, depending on my energy level, I may or may not do that. But one bed down of, I think, 8, and I don't even count the bags. So I may or may not get this done in one day. I'm always too optimistic of how much I can get done in the garden. So I guess that's better than not getting things done. It is kind of like setting a goal, but it's more like setting a goal so I don't have to be out in the heat. So, all right. But doing something is better than nothing, right? Thank you for learning and growing with the Woodpile, where I need to find a master gardener.